Okay, we'll go ahead and get started because it's already 7 after and I don't want to keep you guys all night. I wanted to I have like so many things on my mind. I'm sure you guys do too. If you were at Keto Academy and more, I don't know about y'all, but I think the first day back, well, I didn't actually, I left and then I came right back. So yesterday was like officially, I guess, my first day back. And I think it was like over emotion overload. So you didn't even I don't know if I've even processed everything yet. I'm still kind of like, I actually felt better yesterday than I do today. It's odd. It's just a lot of emotion. I mean, I don't know how to explain it any other way except for like taking back and just kind of like decompressing and taking everything in and just trying to gather it and just think, okay, what do I do with all of this, right? We have so much information and we got, only way I can think of it is like, if you ever gone to church and like you just had this huge experience and been super emotional and you come back and you like try to, okay, how do I work this into my life? It was kind of the same thing for me. Like I personally had like a really big breakthrough. I had been to Keto Academy and more before, but this Keto Academy, I can tell you, is by far 10 times better than the last one. And the last one was really good. So it was like, to say that, I mean, it really was just really, really impressive and mind-blowing for me personally. Keto Academy, I love, but like I sit there and listen and I feel like I'm the dumbest person in the room because half of it I completely don't understand. I mean, I kind of get like, the gist of what they're saying, but like I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm so not smart enough for this job. But then I just think, gosh, how lucky am I that I don't have to know all that? If I can kind of understand it on a whole. But it's really exciting to me to realize so many people are passionate about what we get to do. Like there's people that literally have dedicated their lives, their entire careers. When you listen to Jacob and Ryan talk about what they were as children, what they wanted to do, and all the research and the efforts that they've put into this. Same thing with Dr. Dom. I mean, I just felt like super lucky. Like I just thought, gosh, we get to do the fun parts of what they've wanted to do for years. Like they've put their effort, their lives, their families, everything into the research and the science behind ketones and ketosis. And like, we get the fun part. Like we get to go share it and get paid to do it. Like how crazy is that? I just felt like, gosh, I'm so lucky, like super lucky and super blessed to be in the position that I'm in. So Keto Academy was huge for me in a slightly different way than most people. Like I love the science and the research behind it, but I don't get any of it. So I'm just like, I'm glad they do. And I just think it's awesome. But it just made me feel super lucky. I just thought, gosh, I am like, I felt like they really value what we do because they wanted to do that. And so they're doing it in an avenue that we can't do clearly, but we're doing it in an avenue that they can't do. And so they love that we can do it. You know what I mean? So working together, it's just like a perfect combination. It's like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, they get to do what they're good at and we get to do what we're good at. And we all get to further the ketone conversation. So it's really, really exciting to think of it that way for me. More was just, I mean, I don't really think you can really sum up in words the experience that most of us had at More. I remember the first More, it was slightly different for me because I wasn't a prover. I wasn't in the community yet. I was just getting a dose of like what it was all about. I got to kind of look on the outside. I was a fly on the wall kind of, but it was still really powerful. But this More, holy cow, just the number difference alone, like the people that were there, I thought, oh my gosh, in just 6 months, like this company has gone haywire. Like there was probably 200 or 300 or 400. I don't even think that many people at the first More. There was 1,000 people in the room at More. And so I was really impressed by that because 6 months is like nothing. Holy cow, that's like no time at all. And to like double, triple, quadruple your numbers in just 6 months as a company, like that's huge. And so that was really neat just to see that. Just the physical sight of the room was really exciting and how the dynamics are just stepped up and stepped up and stepped up every time we have something, some type of event. So it was really, really neat. I felt so many different things at More. Personally, it was really, really good for me because I think I was just dealing with a lot of, the last month was super rough for me. I was just off my game. There's been so much stuff going on. And I think it was trying to find the balance of like family life, champion life, trying to maintain like the business side, like the leadership side, and then maintaining, continuing to move up and continuing to do the simple things that got me to where I am. And I was failing miserably. But like I was had a really rough month. So I think for me personally, it was good, like stabilizing to say, okay, like Brian said, there is no balance. I mean, you're always, it's kind of like you just have to do what you have to do and you have to make it work. If you want this, then you will make it work. Like your priorities have to shift, and you just have to kind of change things around, and you have to be okay with that. And so that made, for me personally, that made total sense. Because like I'm always trying to like, okay, how do I, am I dropping the ball here? Am I dropping the ball here? And I'm juggling this and juggling that, and I'm consistently feeling like a failure. So like that's not what we should be doing, right? So it was good for me personally just to say, I kind of like let myself off the hook in a way where I'm just not going to have that super awesome balance that I was really looking for. So I learned this weekend that it's okay. Like it's okay that I don't feel completely 100% solidly balanced. So that was huge for me. Also, Brian really talked about leadership and growing into our leadership and like where we're going and what we're doing. Natalie, layered that learning with not having anchors tied around the behind your boat. And I know every single one of us on this call have anchors that have been tied around our boats. We have a lot of propellers and that's awesome, but we've each had some anchors, and it's can be really, really stifling and a stumbling block. And so we have to be really mindful of that. So that was really good to hear. And the fact that a rank does not make you a leader. And like to hear that, I get it, but I got it. I really got that. Like in my heart, it made sense to me because I think, gosh, here we all are just a few months into this and we're like, we're at the top of the company. I mean, if you want to get real, we're ranked higher than most of the people who have been here from the beginning. I mean, that's just the reality. It was really telling for me that we were on stage with all the champ 8s and above, and we were the majority of the champ 8s. So it was like, well, a lot of those people that have been there a long time, that are super, big in the company are not ranked as high as we are. A lot of us are. So that was like, it just kind of made sense to me. And that sometimes I think we assume because someone on our team is doing well with activity and they've ranked to a point like 4 or 5, maybe even 6, we assume they're a leader, even a 7 or 8, right? And that's just not necessarily true. And so like the way that he talked about it really made sense for me. I feel like I'm kind of one of those people that are kind of just a born leader. Like I've always been, and I say leader as in the sense of like social. I was always leading something, whether it was cheerleading, school, social activities. I just have that outgoing personality. And I've been in the business for about 4 or 5 years, and so I'm vested in the business. I think I'm pretty good at activities, and I'm pretty good at a lot of things, but I'm not necessarily great at leadership. And I'm okay with that. I think it took me recognizing that, it's a learning process. There's so many things that are different than what I'm used to. And so learning how to be my best here is different from maybe being my best somewhere else. And so for me, that was a huge breakthrough. Like, I think our team is doing fantastic things, and I'm excited about what we've done. But there's some things that I think I recognized this week, and I just had some one-on-one time with Brian, and it got some coaching from him on the last day, and just kind of shared my heart, and he shared his heart with me and what he sees in me, what he really wants from me as a leader in the company. And so that was really neat for me to have that experience. It was really neat for me to sit and listen to him and say, hey, this is how he sees me. This is what he sees for me. And I didn't really necessarily see the same things that he saw. So it was kind of exciting and also challenging because I know that I'm not where I need to be yet. But it gives me like even more drive to get to where, you know, I want to be. So I think that as leaders, we have to be honest with where we are and what we want to do, because I may see Amanda and Chad as amazing leaders. I might see them as legends and I might want them to run with me to legend. But if that's not what Amanda and Chad see in themselves, if that's not what they want, then there's going to become a problem eventually, right? Because I'm going to have expectations of them to be the leader that I think they are or I want. But if we don't have that same understanding, there's going to be a problem. So I think that, you know, I just want to get to know y'all better. And like, I want to know what your goals are. And I want to know where you see yourself, because if you don't see yourself as a COC, if you're not someone who's like all in, I want to be a circle of champion, I want to I want to fulfill the expectations of what a circle of champion is, because there are some, and it's okay if you're not. Like, it's totally okay if you're not. If you say, you know what, that's just not me, you know, that's just not what, you know, I'm looking for. I want to make great money, I want to have, you know, fun or whatever, then that's okay too. Like, I'm not, I don't want my expectations to be your expectations. Does that make sense? So I just want to know like where you guys are at. I think I know some of you, but I don't know all of you. I don't know if this is necessarily what you want. I don't know if all of you on this call want to be legends. I don't know if all of you guys want to be a leader in this company. I don't know if you want to eventually be a Natalie or a Michael and take a strong standing position within the company. I don't know if you want me to bring you into that. Does that make sense? Like, if I step into that, I want you to come in. I want my team to be with me on that. I want to have partners in that. I want to have my team leading the COCs. I want, you know, to be at the meetings, to show up early for the events, to stay late. If Brian needs something, I want to be there, and I want y'all to be there. But if that's not what you want, then we have to have that understanding. So I'm not expecting that of you. Or I can just say, you know what, I love Marcy. She's an awesome leader, but she's just that COC responsibility or that leadership or training is not what she's looking to do. Does that make sense, Joe? Right? Am I crazy? Okay, good. So, and Brian just kind of challenged me to do that as well, just because if I, you know, he's really big about getting to know the people on your team. Like, Brian will ask you, he might just randomly ask you if he sees you, hey, who's your top 3 leaders? Who's your top 5 leaders on your team? Or who are the top 5 people running in your organization? And if you can't stat them off like this, he'll question you, you know? If he says, if you have 5 circles of champions under you, and we're in a circles of champion meeting and your champs aren't in the meeting, guess who he's going to ask why the circles of champion aren't there? He probably won't ask the circles of champion that aren't there. He's going to ask you why your champions aren't there. So he has an expectation of people as leaders and it growing up into the company and moving forward with the vision of where he sees the COC. And so as he shared that with me and a lot of us this week, and I think a lot of us in the meetings just realized what his vision is and how strong he is about where we're going and what true leadership means, because rank is not it. And longevity here is another thing he touched on. Just because someone's been here with him from the beginning, he does not see them as a leader. So some of the people that you may think in this company that would be like a really strong figure within the company and a leader, they're not. That's not what Brian sees in someone. So I think that was just a huge breakthrough for me to say, like, I don't think I've ever wanted anything more in my entire life than I want this. Like, personally, for me, I want to take this all the way to legend, and like, I want to be a big part of this company. Like, in 10 years from now, I want people to say, man, I remember Kelly Smith was one of those people that started for this. Like she's been there since the beginning. You know, that's me personally. That's where I see myself, like long-term longevity. I see myself here, and that's what I want. So I want to align myself and learn as much as I can from Brian Underwood, because he's just someone that I admire, and I just, you know, he's just very, very inspiring. He's very motivating, and he's very, he's slightly scary in a way, in a sense where he's kind of like Michael. I think that's where Michael gets it. He's not going to sugarcoat things. And so like, that's why here, and I've never heard this in my entire network marketing career, I've never heard someone say, hey, can I coach you? Are you willing to be coached? Did that mean that if I'm coaching you and I'm mentoring you and you are willing to be coached and mentored, there's going to be times where I might say something to you that you don't like, and that I might call you out on something and hold you accountable. And that's just part of being willing to be coached and led. And so not only do we have to do it, we have to make the choice to do that. Everybody above us does too. And so Brian looked at me in Orlando and said, can I coach you? Are you willing to hear what I have to say? You know, are you willing to take it? And I said, 100%. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yes. And so we had this conversation, 100% honest, you know? And so it made sense to me. Like, I just want, right now we're like infancy, right? So even though we're growing and we have like 1,000, 15, 16, 1,700 people on our team, and probably 20 champs or so, that's so small. Like in another 6 months, we could have 200 champs, like realistically. So like, I want to make sure now that since we're started, this is like our foundation, that we have a solid foundation, and that everyone who's coming with me on this journey and in this growth and development phase of the Circles of Champion, we're all on the same page. So there's going to be some shifts and some switches in how I do some things in my team. Me personally, I just had a lot of like accountability as far as training, as far as really pouring in specifically to your team, which is your first 3 levels, and kind of brutal honesty. And so, you know, in the leadership training that I'm kind of going through, is that they're going to be brutally honest with me so I can be brutally honest with y'all. Because I know that for me to be better and for me to be a strong leader, like I want them to tell me the things that they see. If I'm doing something that's not going to help my team or is not going to help me, then I want them to tell me. Like, you know, Brian had mentioned something to me that he said he had felt for a while, and he didn't say anything to me because he wasn't sure if I would be receptive to it. And I looked at him and I said, please don't ever do that. Like if you see something and you want to say something to me, please say it to me and don't wait, because then it makes me even more like uncomfortable. Like I want him to tell me if he sees something that I'm doing or not doing that he thinks that's going to hurt me in the long term. And one of the things that he said to me was that he felt like I was not fully able to step into what I'm doing here with Prove It, because I still had some of that same mentality from the past, because he wasn't mad about it. He wasn't upset. He said, of course, because that's the only thing I have to compare it to, right? Because that's my past. That's what I knew. That's where I became a leader. But he felt like he really wanted to see like just stepping into leadership with Prove It and being able to fully say, okay, I'm here. I'm 100%, like all the stuff that I knew before, or the way that I did things before. What do they call them? Transferable skills. We never, that's what he says when we talk about being from a prior company or having other network marketing skills. He said, never say anything about a prior company. Don't ever say the words prior company. Just say, I came in with some transferable skills. Because he said, our words have power. And so if we're on a Zoom, or if I'm talking to somebody else in the company that's not in our leg, and I say something about, well, when I was with my prior company, or I did this with my prior company, it gives power to the past. And so instead of doing that, he said, you don't have to say anything. Just say, I came in with transferable skills. This is what I learned through some transferable skills. And as little of a tweak as that is, like, it makes sense to me. Like, the things that he said made 100% sense. And I didn't think of it that way before. And so he really challenged me personally to kind of step into, he says, his words were, step into your greatness with Prove It. Like, he sees so much in me, and he wants to like feed that and grow that so I can, flourish here and focus on what we're doing here and in the future, instead of, holding on to whatever I had in the past. And that made sense to me because, I think a lot of us know, some of the things in the past are painful. And so you respond out of being hurt or feeling a certain way, which is justifiable 100%. But I agree, like, you really can't totally move forward when you're holding on to that. You have to let it go. And by letting it go means you just don't talk about it anymore, period. There's no conversation about it. So I really committed to him and to myself that the past for me would be the past. Like, there would be no discussion. There would be no conversation. There would be no referring to or even really thinking about anything that I've done prior. My focus is on what I'm doing now and what I'm doing in the future with Prove It. So, I was able to commit to that and move forward. And I want to commit to that to y'all too. Even though I know some of us have that history together, I want you to commit to me, like I'm going to commit to you, that we're just going to move forward. Like, we are not going to have this conversation, period. It's just not going to happen, because it's never going to do anything positive to move us further, faster here, if that makes sense. And it can seem silly to you, and that's fine, but it just, for me personally, it made a lot of sense. And the things that, just my emotional stuff and just things that I knew that I need to let go of. Women are sensitive in nature. When other women hurt us, it sticks. And so, that's just life. It's going to happen. But I think that for me, I did need to let some of it go, because it did still hurt, and it shouldn't. It's like, I'm so happy and so excited about what we're doing. Like, to be honest, none of that stuff is even relevant to me anymore. Like, so it was just, for me, like, total breakthrough, like really, really stepping into, I felt like I took a step up and over, if that makes sense. So there's some other things that I think we are doing. I know I'm going to say I'm doing, okay? I'm doing, and I'm going to assume from what I'm seeing that some of you are doing the same things. And so I want to talk about a few of those things, because I think it's crippling us, okay? Natalie and Michael and Brian talk about $10 an hour questions versus $10,000 an hour questions. I have busied myself with $10 an hour questions consistently, and I've done it for too long. We have a ton of resources throughout this community, like a ton. You could join and never speak to me and be 100% successful in this business without me, and without a team page, and without any type of connection at all, to be honest, just with the tools that Prove It gives you. The thing is that people aren't being resourceful. So they're relying on you, or maybe not you personally, but maybe they're relying on one of your downlines to do everything for them. And let's be honest, they're just not doing it themselves when they could. And so because I've allowed it, because I've done those $10 questions consistently, they're duplicating that. So that's something that I'm going to be completely changing. If I sign a level 1, that is my responsibility to show them and give them the tools. I'm there to support them. I'm there to help them with the connection. I'm not there to teach them everything they need to know about ketones or ketosis, and I'm not there to teach them everything about their business. They have to have the initiative to get out there and learn. They can read the downloads just like I can. They can get on the huddle calls just like I can. They can go to the resource tab just like I can. They can go to the FAQ. They can Google just like I can. They can go to the 90 Days to Better page and get recipes just like I can. When I spend hours every day answering questions like, so-and-so has a stomach ache, you know, what do I do? So-and-so doesn't like orange, should she try chocolate or max? I get it, but there's a point where we have to really fuel people to invest in their business. If they're doing this, then they need to take ownership of that. They need to go out and find those questions. We can say, hey, those are great questions. Go check out this, this, and this. And if you can't find the answer after that, then come back and let's have that conversation. But what's happened is, what I've done is I've sat there and I've gone to the FAQ and I've copied and pasted when, you know what? They are perfectly able to do that same thing. And it would have been a 3-second conversation for me to say, hey, check out the resource tab. But instead, I've gone to the resource tab, I've copied and pasted the diabetes things or the liver enzyme thing, or, you know, I've gone to the page and found recipes for the orange. I can't do that. That's not going to get me to where I want to go. So I'm really going to challenge you guys. If y'all are doing that, stop doing it. We're enabling our people to be weak. We have to enable them to be strong. We have to teach them, hey, we have so many awesome tools. We're here to help you learn those tools and direct you to those tools, but they have to take the initiative. This is their business. This is not our business, it's theirs. Okay? And if they're not doing the things, if we're not setting them up to do the things that they need to be successful, then we're crippling them, really, in the long term. Because they're going to be champs and they're not going to have a clue how to direct their people like we're doing if we're always doing everything for them. The great thing about this is that a lot of us did everything right in the beginning as far as Watch Connect Experience. Okay, we did Watch Connect Experience, we hit GoPro. We Watch Connect Experience, we hit MVP. We Watch Connect Experience, we got volume, we got new customers, we hit champ. Then I think what happens is you become a champion, and then you stop doing the things, you stop doing the activities that got you there, right? And then you get into this management mode thing. You get into trying to know everything and learn everything and then teach your whole team everything and answer a bazillion questions all day long and troubleshoot people all day long and listen to bitching and whining all day long. And then before you know it, now you're the same rank for a month. You're the same rank for 2 months. And then maybe you're going backwards. And that's the reality of what's going on right now. And so even though, hear me, okay? Even though you guys are absolutely amazing and you're doing phenomenal, you guys, the numbers, the sheer numbers alone are impressive, right? It's the daily activity and it's the things that we're doing that in the long term will exhaust you and make you want to quit. It won't move you forward faster, and it's not the best way to get to the top. It's going to be the exhausting, tiring, frustrating, up and down, up and down, and up and down. And that's not what we want, right? We want the smoothest transition to legend. We want to be able to build solid leaders, not people that are just ranking up out of just numbers, sheer volume. We want to be able to equip people in the early stages of like 1s, 2s, 3s, where they're super solid 4s and 5s. Because if we can do that, then they'll transition into champions so much easier, and they'll be solid champions. They're going to be leaders. They won't just be ranked. They're going to know, hey, I'm not going to spend 2 hours a day answering $10 an hour questions. I'm not going to feed into someone's negativity. I'm not going to listen to any type of drama, because I can tell you right now, the second you do, your team starts to crumble. Like, we just have to have a consistent across the board policy that we don't deal with drama. We don't deal with that. We're not going to. I'm pretty good about that. I just don't do drama. I'm one of those girls that have a lot of guy friends. I had a lot of guy friends in school because I just don't like that cattiness. I don't like to deal with bitchy women. Let's just be honest. So I like to, like, if you have a problem with me and I have a problem with you and we're not talking about it, I'm going to be the one to be like, okay, Amanda, what's your deal? Like, you've been ignoring me for 2 days. Like, let's just talk about it. Like, that's just who I am. Some people don't do that. Some people let it fester and they're just rude or they're just blah, blah, blah. And so then everybody's like, oh, you know, this person, that person. Like, I don't deal with that. And like, I will tell you right now that Natalie, Brian, and Michael, it's 0. Like, if they even have a hint that a team is like that, they will absolutely close the door and they won't deal with them at all. They just won't. They won't feed into them. They won't do anything. They just completely turn away from anybody that's like that. So I don't want that to happen because Natalie and Michael and Brian have so much that they can give us. They have so much knowledge. They have so much skill set. They just have a lot of really inspiring things. I don't ever want to do anything that would keep us from having that, right? I also want to make sure that we're in activity, that we're engaging in activity, because the moment we aren't engaging in activity, that's when Michael and Ellie don't answer phone calls. That's when Michael and Ellie don't answer messages. That's when they start working with somebody else that's doing activity, that's getting people on the phone, that are getting people in Zooms. They're going to spend their time with people that are running. They have 0 tolerance for anchors. They just won't do it. And so I don't ever want to be an anchor at all in this business. I want to keep going with the momentum that we've built in the character and culture of this team. And I think now with more, it's just a great time to say, okay, we have gone so fast, so quickly. There's been some balls dropped. There's been some things that we could have done differently. There's been some hiccups here and there, but I think now is a great time to say, okay, let's come together. Let's decide that this is what we're going to do. Let's get back on track with what works for our team. And what works for our team is exactly what got us here, right? The Watch Connect experience in a role, the getting on Zooms, the being super engaged with each other, to being consistent. The number one thing that I attest to growing and doing as well as we did is connection. We were connected all the time. I connected every single person to Natalie and Michael. And you guys all started connecting your people with me, right? When you stop connecting your team with your upline and their upline, there becomes a disconnect. And that is the worst thing possible, because let's say I sign Amanda, she signs Aaron, and Aaron signs Marcy. If Aaron does not connect Marcy with Amanda and I, what happens if Aaron leaves? What happens if, God forbid, Aaron breaks her leg and she's in the hospital for 2 months?
I'm not going anywhere, by the way.
I know. But do you see my point? What happens if she has not connected Marcy to Amanda and I? We're doomed, right? There's a way higher percentage that Marcy will quit and her downline will quit or fall off and stop producing because they don't know me and Amanda. So if Erin leaves, that's her comfort, right? That's her support. So if she doesn't have her anymore, things just start dropping like flies. So I think we did brilliantly in the beginning, right? Because it was less numbers. But now we have such large numbers that I'm here to tell you, we have to be better at it. We have to intentionally be better. We have to work a little bit harder, each of us, to say, hey, I am not connecting my people. I'm struggling. I'm not making sure my level 1s, 2s, 3s are connecting their people all the way up. Every single person on this team needs to know who I am, because I can connect them to Natalie and Michael. and you can connect them to Natalie and Michael, right? It doesn't take, you can start a message, let me tell you, and I know some of you do, and they don't always get answered, but I can promise you that that's something that I'm working with them on, because I'm bringing I'm talking to you guys and I'm looking at what we need, and then I'm going to Natalie and Michael, Casey, Natalie and Michael, and saying, hey, this is what we need. This is what we feel like we need, this ABC from you, because they asked me. And Brian I said, what is it that you need? Tell us exactly what you need, what's not being done, what could be done better. And so that's what I'm going to do, because I want them to give us that focus and that attention. I want us to be centered and in the know and getting those third-party validations and getting those Zooms, because it's a huge support. It's what got me to 8. So if you have someone on your team, by the time they hit, if you have a strong 4 or 5, you absolutely, they need to be welcomed all the way into Michael and Natalie and Casey. And sometimes I leave Casey out and I feel bad. Casey is we're very different personalities. Casey is very introverted and very quiet. And I know that. I love her. She's absolutely wonderful. She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. She would do anything for you if you ask. She's not going to be, she's not one of those people that's super proactive to like call me or get with me and say, hey, do you need something? But I know if I do need something, I can go to her. Does that make sense? So we're just different personalities. She's absolutely wonderful, but she's not as like in it and in your face as Michael and Natalie. So because I'm kind of that way, I just kind of connect with them, but I always put her in. And she just did a Zoom, I think, for Amanda today. Jumped on a Zoom for Amanda and Chad. So she's there too. So I never need to leave her out because she's awesome. But everyone needs to, if you're running, if you're vested and committed and you have someone that's working this business and they want to be champ, then they need to get to know Casey, Natalie, and Michael. You know, maybe not when they're 2, you know, they don't need to be in every 3-way with Natalie and Michael, but as they're moving forward fast by like a solid 4 or 5, we need to do an introduction, because guess what? When we do, we can pull each of those in and cherry pick all those 4s and 5s and just run them to champ. Let's just start cherry picking all those 4s and 5s, getting them in, letting me, Natalie, Casey, and Michael help run them to champ. Give them that constant, okay, let's do this. What do we need? How can we help you? You know, the thing is let's keep Casey, Natalie, and Michael so busy, they're like, holy shit, what's going on, right? Because that's how they were before. But it's because we were constantly and consistently plugging them in. And if there's a time where you guys put them in a chat and they're not responding, then that's when you need to say, hey, I put them in a chat. Can you make sure they get in there? Because then I can call them out and say, hey, I need you in this chat. Like Amanda and Chad put a level 5 in there. She's running to 6, blah, blah, blah. And so then, you know, that would be on me to make sure they know what I need from them. And I will make sure that they get in there and conversate and, you know, focus. Because of course they're busy. I mean, clearly Michael's running the entire company. He's cherry picking every line in the company. So he's working literally down every single leg in this company to find the people that are running, right? But how freaking awesome is that? I mean, it's crazy that he's willing to do that. That just shows you the heart of that guy. I mean, it just shows you what he wants for the company and how committed he is. Natalie's the same way. Natalie's trying to grow her team. So we're in her team. So we're her levels 1 through 3. I'm her level 2. So all my level 1s are her level 3s. So she needs us because she needs that. That's where she needs her volume at. So she's willing and able. We just have to ask. And sometimes with them, it's just a matter of I have to text her and say, okay, I need you at 2 o'clock. Like, I know you yes me to death, but like you need to make sure that you're on that call. But if you let me know, and if you try to get them in there and they're just like, yes, 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 or if they didn't show up, then it's time to say, okay, Kelly, can you make sure, right? And then that's where I get to hold them accountable as my upline to say, hey, this is what I need from you. So I think we just really, really, really need to start being better at connection. I think that we've just gotten off of doing that. And I think several of us have hit champion. And it is a whirlwind. It's crazy, right? It's hard. You have so many people. You are fielding all these questions, and people are, you know, I don't think people mean to, but they think you're champion, so they ask you everything. And it's always like a given. Instead of just going to look, they're going to message you all the time. with the craziest stuff just because you're champion. So your guys, I want you to commit to me that you're going to start saying, those are great questions, but you need to go look here, here, and here for those answers. If you can't find them after you've looked here, here, and here, then get back with me and I will make sure that we find you those answers. But don't spend 20 minutes with someone's stomach ache or diarrhea. Please don't do it. If someone has a shipping problem or there's something in their back office, guess what? They can email customer service just like you can. They can email support because that's what we have to do anyways. I can tell you right now, if I go to Natalie or Michael with a problem and I have not emailed support or I have not had my downline email support first and then me back and I go to them, they will put a hand up and say, I'm not dealing with that. You know what you need to do. There are certain things that we have to do first. So if we have a problem, it's not run to Natalie and Michael to fix it. Okay? You get with your person who has the problem. You see if you can fix it. If it's something that you can do, if there's a fix, then fix it. If it's something simple that we have the ability to control or fix, let's get it done. If it's not, then I want you to direct your person to email support and CC you and I on it. That way we can see what they're doing. Because a lot of people say, oh, I emailed support and they never messaged me back. I said, can you forward me that email? Guess what? They don't ever forward me an email because probably they didn't really message or they didn't wait long enough for a response. So if we start telling people, hey, email support, CC me and Kelly on it, we are in the know. We know what they say. We know how customer service responds. So if we see something that customer service is not doing, guess what Brian told me this weekend? If they respond and don't give an answer, then he needs to know about it. If they're not responding within 24 hours, he wants to know about it. So he gave me his, he gave me his confirmation that if I have problems with customer service and they're not doing what they need to be doing, he wants to know about it. So when you're CC'd, guess what? We can see all that. So then we can take it a step further. The Champ 8s and above have a separate email that we can email and we can talk to Heather. Absolutely no one, and I mean no one who is not Champ 8 or above should ever be emailing Heather, ever, unless specifically told to. Okay, a lot of people abuse that. She's getting beat with champions, messaging her and sending her emails separately and wanting her to handle everything. And we just can't do that to her. I mean, gosh, she's got a lot of stuff on her plate. So we have to go through the same route everybody else does until we don't get what we need. And then we can take it a step further. And you can, if you have a Champ 8 in your leg, which most of you do, because a lot of you are in Amanda and Chad's, or David and Candy's leg, or mine. So we're all Champ 8. So one of us can help you. So we can CC our VIP email and try to fix whatever problem it is. And if it's still unfixable, then that's when I can take it to Natalie and Michael. And then they will take it to Brian. I wouldn't even, at this point, even though he said I could, I would still refer it to Michael and Natalie and have them take it to Brian because that's what I feel comfortable with. But we have a ton of support. We just have to go through the right chains and the right avenues to get that support. If that makes sense. But I mean, being with the community, sitting and having some one-on-one time with our uplines and Brian, really just, they want this so bad for all of us. Like it's crazy to me because I feel it from them. It's not just like, like some people like, oh yeah, I want you to do so good, blah, blah, blah. They really don't could care less. It's not like that. Like the vision is for everyone to be moving forward with them. Everybody to be a community together and have awesome success and to continue bringing people forward in that same success. So I just want to, we're not going to do it tonight, like out loud, but I would just really appreciate if you guys could like shoot me a text or call me or message me on Facebook and just say, hey, this is where I'm at. When whatever it is, I am committed. I'm 100%. I'm ready to go to Legend. I'm, committing to you like you're committing to me and you're on board. Or if you're not, trust me, I love you anyways. I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna treat you exactly the same. But if you have stuff in your life going on in your life and you just can't, if you're just like, you know what, I love this, but you know, my kids and my family come first. I'm committed, but I'm not, you know, the COC thing and the responsibility is just not something I can commit to. That's okay. Like, I'd rather you say that. But I want to be able to say, because let me tell you something. When I say, I guess scolding is a bad word, but it's the only thing I can compare it to. I'm not like a big wordy person. But when they found out I had COCs that were not at more, I got my ass chewed and handed to me. And in a good way, but I still got my ass chewed and handed to me because they're looking to me for answers. And they want to know why my COCs are not in a COC meeting. I'm just going to be honest. It comes down to me. And because they have expectations of what a Circle of Champion is. And so when I have people at an event and they are not in a COC meeting and they are not engaged in the COC events, I get questioned and they want to know why. And I don't know. And so that's my fault. That's my, I need to know. Like, I need to know where my team stands. I need to say, well, you know what? She's an awesome leader. She is a Circle Champion, but this is just not her thing, and she's not going to be president of the COC. She's not moving forward in that responsibility, in that position. She's awesome. She's wonderful. She's a blessing to our team, but you can't rely on her for being in the COC, and that's okay. And they're okay with that. He is 100% okay with that if I can voice that to him. But if I'm sitting there and I say, well, blah, 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 and I look like a dummy because I have no idea, that's on me. And so I take that responsibility. So that's why I'm asking you each to tell me, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm willing to commit to. This is what I can do. This is what I'm not willing to do. And that's okay. I don't want you guys to feel pressured for me at all, because that's not what this is. I promise you. I have mad respect for you guys. Some of you I just met through this opportunity, and I have the utmost respect for you. And I don't want to put my expectations on you. I want you to tell me what your expectations are and what you're willing to commit. But as a leader and moving forward into my leadership with Prove It, I need to know. So I'm just asking you to voice that to me. I can tell you, as a Circles of Champion, they expect you to be at events, period. I get it. Like, this is such a hard thing for me because I feel for everyone. Like, I know both sides. Like, I get people have family. I have 5 kids, and there's just sometimes that it's like I have to choose. And so I miss stuff. Like, I miss my kids' stuff. I didn't see my husband. I mean, he drove over with my 7-year-old. I might have saw him for 15 minutes in 4 days. That's a sacrifice, y'all. I'm sacrificing too, so I get it. For me, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, for me, I'm willing to do it because I see the bigger picture for my family. Now, this is just me though, so we're all different. So I'm willing to sacrifice some of the things that are hard for me to sacrifice, because I absolutely love my children and my husband are my first and foremost. But I know that with what I want for them in the long term, and the security and all the things that I've dreamed of my entire life, I know crystal clear to get to that this is what I need to do. Like, these are the sacrifices that I'm going to have to make in the short term. So in the long term, I can have everything that I've dreamt of since I was a little girl. That's what my heart tells me. Now, that might not be what your heart tells you, and that's okay. But I'm going to tell you that as a Circle of Champion, you need to be at events, period. There's just nothing else I can say other than it's expected of you as a champion to get to events, period. I mean, there's going to be times where you absolutely cannot, like it's not feasible, and that's okay. Things happen. But I can tell you that Brian, we were in a huddle up in the hotel room, and there was someone that left early because their kid had a game. One of their kids had one, I don't know what kind of game. And it pissed him off because he knows how many other people sacrificed to be here. And so I mean, we all value our families and our kids, but you know, he sees it as if he's sacrificing for his family and 100 other champions are missing their kids' games and their wives or husbands' events, but they make it to it, then he sees that as commitment. That's what he sees. He sees that as you value this vision, you're committed to this, and you're willing to sacrifice when it needs to be, when it needs to be. And it can't be every time. You know, Brian is not an unreasonable person. And if anybody, I know Man and Chad have gotten to meet him, Aaron and Mike, several of you, Marcy, you know, he's not an unreasonable person. He's not an asshole. He's not going to be, he doesn't judge. And so I don't want you to think that's what it is. He's so passionate. Like he's just so passionate about what we're doing. And he knows my heart and he knows what I want. And so, he's just being honest with me. And so he's expecting, he says, this is what needs to happen. And so I want to be able to share that with you, to say, hey, if you're all in, it's going to take some sacrifice. It's going to take some missing things. It's going to take saying, man, I really want to be at this thing with my family. But you know what? More is an incredible event, and I'm just not going to miss it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to plug in with my team because it's one of the biggest events of the year. It's so life-changing that I'm going to give up whatever it is, even though it's special to me, to invest in my team and invest in yourself, right? Because if we're not investing more, you're there to be selfish. I mean, it's there for your benefit. They do what they do. They bring in the speakers and they do the training for you, so you can be better, so you can teach your teams to be better. So they're equipping us to be able to have the best team possible and be the best leader that we can be. So it's not about going to every single event ever. It's just about committing and being present when you need to be present. And especially more, that is an event you should not miss. So as we go into it, knowing that more of the year is coming up, I would put that sucker on your calendar and make sure that you do not miss it, no matter what. If you can't get to Keto Academy and more, miss Keto Academy, period. Do not miss a more event. Keto Academy is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't want to miss it. I would sacrifice to go, but if I had to pick between the two, there's not a chance in hell I'm missing more. It's just not going to happen. So I want you to know moving forward that, just like anything, I mean, let's just be real. There's things like Chad had to travel for his job. So like, I really can understand their family dynamics because my husband had to travel. That's a sacrifice. Like Amanda wasn't like, woohoo, Chad's going away for a week. I get the kids by myself. Oh, this is so awesome. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe sometimes, but I wasn't like, oh yes, my husband's leaving for 2 weeks. Woohoo. It wasn't, but you know what? We knew that that's what we had to do. It was part of the job. It was something that we went in saying, okay, this is his responsibility. This is what's bringing the money in. This is what's furthering our family. So we have to make that sacrifice. And that's just what we did because we needed to do it. It's the same thing in this. If this is your business and you're really invested in it to grow it and take it to the top, there are going to be things that you have to give up and sacrifice. There just are. And so I want y'all to know that, because if it's not something that you can do, I want you to know that too. Because I want to be fair to say, it's okay to say, hey, I'm gonna keep plugging in. I'm gonna keep, I want to be a leader to my team and, keep working in this business. But as far as really being a pivotal part of the leadership of Prove It, that I'm not going to be able to do that. And that's okay. Totally respect you for that. Like it makes no difference to me. I just need to know. So I'm aware of who I have in my leadership, and going forward when I'm asked and I have expectations from the people above me, I have a clear understanding of what's going on my team. So I hope you guys understand like my heart in it all. And I hope that you hear me when I say about not answering $10 questions. I don't want you to ignore your team. I don't want you to not drive your team. I do. I want you to be the best leader you can be. I want you to pour into your team. I want you to pat them on the back. I want you to, give them all the cheering and the accountability. I just don't want you to coddle them or work their business. I don't want you to take away from your business so you can work, people that are perfectly able to work their own business, work their business. We really need to equip them with the tools, and we have the tools to equip them with, so we have to utilize those tools better, is what I'm saying. And the connection part, we have to get it right. Y'all, I'm telling you, going forward, that is what's going to make or break it. You've got to use the connect part. We have to connect all the way up. We have to keep that closeness. We have to keep that duplicating down, or we will have problems. It's just how it is. You just have to stay connected and you want to, because let's be real. There's going to be times that things come up in our lives. There's going to be times that you check out. Maybe you have to check out for a couple of weeks. Maybe there's something going on with one of your kids or your husband or you. There's just times where life is going to happen. And if you are not plugged in and you are not plugging your entire team in all the way up, that's when things start to crumble and you lose people. And I don't want to lose anyone. I don't want to lose a single person who has a desire to work this business and see it to flourish in. I want every single person that comes into this community to know that they have support all the way up to Michael Rutherford. So anywhere in between, I don't care if there's 15 people in between, I want them to know that they have support all the way up to the top. So the connection part is just absolutely huge. I want to make sure that everything that we learned at More, and if you weren't there, be there. Be at the next one. Do everything possible to be at the next one. Because I want to share all this stuff, but it's just so hard. If you're not there in the moment and feeding off the energy of the community, it's vastly different. I can send you the manual. I can upload the manual and you can look at it. It's just not going to be the same. And Amanda's shaking her head. Chrissy's, it's hard to explain, but ladies, am I right? It's about being in a room with people that are so driven and so passionate of the exact same things that you are, and they're on the same page, and the energy is physically moving. You can't sit still, legit. People that would have never got up and shook their ass were up shaking their ass. Okay. And it sounds funny, but yeah. Chad was in the COC room just on the microphone. I was like, what is going on right now? But it does, it fuels you faster. It gives you this confidence. It gives you this this energy that you could just take on the world. And being in that environment is really changing. I don't know how you can go to something like that and not be changed. It's just that incredible. I want you guys to experience that for yourself, just so you can grow personally, and then help your teams grow. Tomorrow night, is tomorrow night? My days are, I'm so, okay, yes. So tomorrow night is Thursday. So tomorrow is team training. I'm going to be talking to them and training them on the exact same tools and trades that we've been doing. Nothing as far as watch, connect, experience, enroll, same thing. Creating curiosity, doing the same, none of that is switching. The attitude and the intensity and the accountability is going to be slightly boot camp-ish. That makes sense. It's going to be, you commit to me and I'll commit to you. If this is what you want, prove it. Because I'm not going to chase you down. I'm not going to be, you know, seeking you out, and neither should y'all. And when you personally find someone, yes, that's your job. But you're going to be riding all your level 1. You're going to be giving them everything. You should be attached to your level 1s like flies on poop, right? Unless they give you a reason not to be, right? When they stop responding to you, or if they stop running, then that's when you say, I love you where you're at. And when you're ready to run, let me know, because I have 5 other people that would love my time. And so I'm going to go give that time to those people that are running with this, because that's what I'm here for. So it's going to be like same skill set, same tools, same training, just a slightly tougher version. That makes sense. Not mean, just like exciting, super passionate, like let's do the damn thing. Like we're here, you joined, you spent $1,000 in an experience pack, most of them. Like, why are you still a level 2? Like, what is holding you back from being a 6? Like, the reality is, y'all, I don't care who you are. In a matter of a month, they could be a champion if they put in the work. If they just did the simple steps. They don't have to have anything special, but they have to actually get out and do the work. We sat in a room and they talked about plays that work. The first play that they said, and this is so ridiculously easy, and whenever, I swear to God, I get like 1,000 messages a day from people saying, I don't know, this is just not working for me. I know I can't get anybody to engage on my posts. I haven't really sold that many 5 days, blah, 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 blah. And it's like this one thing will wrap it up. I said, what do you know about ketones and ketosis? You can text it, you can post it, you can call your friend, you can email them, you can Facebook message them. And whatever they say, it doesn't matter. If they know a ton or if they know absolutely nothing, your response is, if I took the time to send you a 4-minute video, would you take the time to watch it and let me know if it makes sense to you? I was like, OMG. Like, I mean, can I tell you, since, when did we get home? Monday? I don't even know when we got home. Do you know how many text messages and emails and messages that I have sent with that exact verbiage? I mean, I've been slaying it. I mean, just that simple sentence. And I have gotten so many responses, it's ridiculous. Like that simplistic statement has caused so much engagement, right? When they come back and they watch the video, then you ask, so do you want to buy a 5-day experience or a 10? And do you know why Brian says that? Brian James, he says, because it gives them either or. It doesn't give them an option to say, I don't want one. He says, do you want to try a 5-day or do you want to try a 10? So he's giving them a choice to say, I want a 5 or 10, not that they don't want anything. Simple language. Like, that's another thing we learned this week. Language is so important. Everything about our language is extremely important. One word on a Facebook post could be loser language, and they don't even know it, right? Something that, and maybe that's why they're not getting engagement. Maybe that's why they're not getting anybody commenting, right? So I think it's it's part of our training to make sure that they're using winner's language, that they're using simple plays that work. And so we're going to be equipping them. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about those specifically. But how easy is that? I mean, everyone can do that. Everyone can go through their text messages, all of their phone book, or their Facebook friends or whoever. The bottom line, if people aren't moving forward, it's because they're not doing the activity, period. That's the only reason. The only reason. So instead of placating them and listening to the whining and listening to all that jazz, you say, just like the post I said, I'm not going to ask you I'm not going to beg you to do this. But if you want my time, go bring 2 people to me to talk to on the phone. When you do, let's rock and roll. Or go text this to 5 people. When you get a response, message me. Right? So if they're asking for our time, if they want to take our time by a message or a phone call or a Zoom, then have them engaging in activity. You can't spend time with people that aren't willing to do anything. If they're willing to do it, they'll get somebody on a phone. It was 12:30 at night, and a little girl stood up and said, I really want this. I want to go to Champion. I'm willing to do anything you say. And Michael looked at her. He said, oh yeah, anything? And he said, get 2 people on the phone right now. And she's like, right now? And he's like, right now. And he's like, I will mentor you if you can get 2 people on the phone right now. It was 12:30 at night, y'all. The girl got someone on the phone. Literally. She was texting people. She was calling people. Getting at 12:30 at night. And she literally got a guy on the phone as we were all standing there. We watched it play out. If you want it, you can get it done. Period. So it's all about activity. And so moving forward with this, and I'm doing this personally with my level 1, is I'm saying, hey, you commit to me and I'll commit to you. This is what I want you to do. Give them direction. We have this little, this is another thing. I wish everybody had it, because you guys that weren't there don't have it, but we'll make it available. He talked about leadership and coaching, right? This is incredible training. I mean, this will blow your mind, right? It talks about the skill set of provers. So you might have a prover one that's super new, right? They're just crazy stupid about ketones. Like they don't know anything, but they just have the excitement, right? So you're going to give them directives, like specific tasks to get done. You know how you know that they're going to run? If they do the activities that you're giving them. If they don't, they're not going to, then you move on to the next person who's willing to do the activity, right? So you have to learn how to respond to these people. If they're a prover 2, maybe they have a little bit of skill set, right? They know a little bit to be dangerous. But then we have to make sure that we're keeping them, their language is right, they're being positive. We're going to cheer them on, but not necessarily, like, they should know what to be doing. The watch, connect, experience. Watch, connect, and roll. Like, we're just kind of slightly directing them, but they should be doing it on their own at that point. And then you're going to have a prover 3 who's like, awesome. They're rocking it. They're probably a champion. They know what they're going to be doing, right? And it just kind of shows, it breaks it down to like how you respond to them, what activities you're going to be giving them, what tools to utilize. So this little tiny book is like, it's going to change your business. If you do what he says in this book, if you utilize this, it'll take your business to the next level. It really will. It's that good. And we didn't even get to finish this. So we only got like a half of this. So they're actually thinking about doing a training on this separate, like, because it's so good. Like, we could sit there for like a whole, probably a day or 2 just on this alone. And I'm telling you, this is a phenomenal training. Really, really, really good. It talks about disillusioned prover, someone who, we have a lot of them. Unfortunately, there are people that on this team that are completely disillusioned. They have a mindset that is just not winning mindset. They have lack of motivation or lack of work ethic or activity. And so they want to blame, shame, and make excuses. That's disillusionment. And we have to be very careful, because one person that's like that on your team can get in and just eat up your team with that negativity. And we don't want any of that. We can't let a disillusioned person take up and swallow our time either, because that gets us off track. So you have to love those people and direct those people. And then if they're still disillusioned, you have to love them and leave them where they're at and move forward, because it's just not going to be productive for them or for you. So it was just,
also, what they were saying was, you can be a disillusioned prover for a little bit and then snap out of it. So if you are one of those people, not like we're giving up on you,
Mm-hmm.
You just have to realize that, maybe you just aren't in that right place right now. Maybe you need to do some self-development, or
Mm-hmm.
just kind of reassess where you are with your business. It's not something that's forever with everybody.
Hopefully not. Yeah. And they're actually, because Brian does care about people, he wants to set up like some one-on-ones with Mitch, and Mitch is going to be really working with people. They're going to set up kind of like a program for people that are struggling and with disillusionment and blaming and excuses. And that, when we can recognize someone like that, we're going to be able to say, hey, I really think you should work with Mitch on a Tuesday at 7, or it's not right now, but they're working on that to say, hey, he's going to take people that have that mindset or have that disillusionment and work through that so they can move forward. So it's not like we're just saying, oh, we don't like you, I'm not going to work with you. It's just that, hey, we're not seeing the same thing right now. We're not going in the same direction, but I definitely want to help you. So Mitch is awesome with this. If you've ever heard Mitch speak, you know how awesome he is on mindset and just personal growth and development. So as a company, they're willing to set up a program for people that do get frustrated, that do, get disillusioned and make excuses and can't see past, their own situation. So it's not something that, everybody is going to, be willing to change, but some people may, maybe they are just frustrated. Maybe they're just not seeing where they need to make the tweaks. Maybe they're just not being coachable. You have to be coachable in this business. I can tell you that there was a night that Michael Rutherford came to me and said something to me, and it went all over me. I mean, it pissed me right off. And that's the first time that he's really pissed me off. And I was like pretty mad, and I did not want to hear about it, And so it took me a little bit to really say, okay, but what's great is that I can take it, what I want to take, and then I can leave the rest, right? I'm my own person. And he's his own person, and if he sees something, I can take what he says and use what I think that's necessary, and then I can just release the rest and say, okay, well, that was his thought, or that's his opinion, or that's how he sees it, but this is what I'm going to do. And I can take in and say, okay, I see what he's saying. I know why he's saying it, because he cares. He wants me to do good. He doesn't want, he wants me to see this. And so I have to be willing to be coachable. And they ask me too, before they tell me sometimes, they say, okay, do you want me to tell you the truth? Do you want me to coach you, or are we just kicking it like friends right now? Because it's okay to be friends. Like, we can be friends and hang out, and they're not going to bust on me or say things about my business or whatever, because they love me. But when he's in that coaching mode, and it's the same for us. If Amanda and Chad, and they have several times, said, hey, we're coach right now. We're upline and prover. Like, I want you to tell me if there's something that I'm not doing. If you see something that I can improve in, I want you to tell me. So then I know that we're outside of our friendship, go hang out and spend time together and have a great time. I know they're asking me to be their coach, their mentor at that moment. So I can say, well, I think this is super awesome, but you might want to do this, this, or that. And that gives me the okay to coach them, right? So I know they're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. It's not like that, because they know me well enough to know I say it out of love. Erin has come to me and said the same thing. She said, hey, I need you to guide me. Like, I want this so bad. Me and Mike want this more than anything. And like, if there's anything that you see that we're not doing, or that we could tweak or do differently, then tell me. So she and Mike are giving me the ability. They're saying, hey, step outside our friendship, because I know that you love us and we can hang out at any time. But right now, I want you to be a coach to me. I want you to be honest with me and tell me what you see as a leader. Right? And so I do the same thing to Casey and Allie Michael. I'll say, okay, I know we all joke around. We're super close or whatever, but like, I need to know what I'm doing. And so y'all need to really be doing that with your leaders too. And you need to ask them, because sometimes there are going to be people that say, no, I don't want you to coach me. I'm good. I can do this on my own, or whatever. You will get that sometimes. But if you ask, say, hey, Jennifer, you've asked me my opinion, you said you want my help. You said you're trying to, you really want to get to 7 and you're asking me what you need to do. I would say to Jennifer, are you willing to have me coach you? Can I speak to you as a coach, not a friend? Then it's up to her to say yes. And so that lets me say, okay, she knows I care about her. She knows I'm saying what I'm about to say I love, because I value her as a champion and I value her as a leader. And I want her to do well. So this is what I see. But asking gives us both permission, to be honest. So that's something else that I'm going to be doing, is just saying, hey, when someone comes to me and they're complaining and they're saying something that's negative, that's the first thing I'm going to say, because it's a accountability. It's to say, hey, I'm not going to placate you. I'm not going to say everything's fine and dandy and just give you 10 things, refer you to 10 things that you should know already. I'm going to say, hey, Michelle, can I be your mentor right now? Can I be your coach right now? Do I have permission to coach you and give you some advice on your business? And then I'm going to tell her, you know what? You're negative. You've been complaining. You're making excuses, and it's crippling your business. And I love you, and you've done so well. And Michelle, I'm just giving you an example. You've done so well, but I can tell her as a coach, right? And so she can take it as a coach and not have her feelings hurt. She can take it as I'm just giving her business advice. And then an hour later, if we're drinking beer and hanging out, I still love her as a friend, and it makes no difference to me, right? Because at the end of the day, y'all, this is y'all's business. I can want it for you or with you, but you're the one cashing the check, right? You're the one that needs, you know what you need. You know where you want to take this. I don't know. I'm not responsible for that. You are. But if you tell me, tonight when y'all each message me, if you tell me, I want you to coach me. I want you to be honest with me. I want to be a circle champion. I want to be a leader. I want to move forward with you into leadership and prove it. Then I know, right? Or if you message me and say, I love this opportunity, but I'm just not going to be one of those leaders. I'm going to work the business. I'm going to take it as far as I can business-wise, but I'm not going to step into a circle of championship leadership. Then I'll say, awesome. That's okay. I love you. I'll be still mentoring you, coaching you. I want you to do the best as you can in business and make as much money as you possibly can. And that's going to be okay too. But I just want us to have for me personally, I want a clear vision of all my champions where I sit right now and where your heart's at, where your commitment level's at, what your goals are. Because going forward, that will help both of us, all of us so much, and we're going to be on the same page. And we can really, right now, I can really, really hone in on that because we are kind of a small group. If I had 200 of you, it would be really difficult. So as we're growing, I want to just make sure that I identify who's coming with me on the level that I'm committed with. Awesome. And I would love to have every single one of you. And maybe, you know what, you could say, right now, I'm not. And maybe 2 months from now, you say, you know what, girlfriend, I'm good. I got all my stuff is taken care of. I was dealing with this or that, but now I'm in it to win it. And I want to be coachable. I want you to mentor me. I want to be in the leadership. And that's fine too. And at any time. So I want you to really, tonight when we get off, and I'm going to wrap it up in a second. I really want you to think about it. If you want to wait till tomorrow morning to message me or call me or text me, that's fine. But be honest. Be honest with yourself first, and then I want you to be honest with me and just share with me where you're at, what your commitment level is, and what your goals are with Prove It specifically. And then we'll go from there, because I think that it's just something that really needs to be done. And, I'm being mentored to have that done so we can be on the same page, and I know how to lead you. And that I can be, as I'm learning and as I'm connecting up, then I know who else needs that same connection and that same mentorship, right? So, and we can fuel that into our teams too. We can recognize, as we grow and develop, we're going to recognize those people and we're going to bring them too, right? And we're going to have that same accountability with them, those same honest conversations. And so as they're moving forward, we already know, right? We're going to be so in tune with our teams more and more that it just becomes really super duplicatable to really know who your leaders are, know what their goals are, know what their commitment level is, and know where they want to go. Because if we don't know where we want to go, then we can't get there. If I don't know where you want to go, how can I lead you there? Right? And same thing for me. Brian said that exact word. If I don't know where you want to go, how can I take you there? So I made it crystal clear to him where I wanted to go. And so now I have, you know what I mean? Like I have that commitment from all of them. So it was just a really huge pivotal point this week, I guess, for me in the business. And just, I have a lot of work to do. I have things that I want to learn and I want to grow from. And, it's not going to be like, obviously, this super easy ride and whatever. There's tons of things that I need to get better at personally in myself. So I'm committed to those things because I really need to sharpen the iron and really, just be accountable as well. So I'm never going to ask you guys to do anything that I'm not doing myself or willing to do. You have my commitment on that too. So I do want you really quick, if the ones that were there, if you could each just do if you want to do a minute or two, just kind of share if you had a breakthrough, if you had something, if you got some nugget of information that you really took away from it. I would just love you guys to share. I'll keep everybody muted because I know some of you are a little noisy, but just unmute and then mute, and we'll take turns. You guys can share just a little bit of what you guys got.
I can go if you want, Kelly.
Okay.
I will be flat out honest with you guys. I have been completely drained the last 2 days. One, from not getting any sleep. I mean, we were up for 48 hours once we got there because of our red-eye flight and all that junk. But Joseph McClendon kicked my ass in ways that I never could have imagined. The first day when the arrow thing was briefly mentioned, I think Brian kind of put a little teaser out in the COC huddle or something, and I'm like, he's joking, right? Like, I seriously thought he was kidding. And so then the day that they pulled all that stuff out, I'm like, oh shit, he's serious. Like, we really have to do that. And for one, I'm a big old chicken. Like, with anything, I'm just a chicken. I just am. And so I had a lot of anxiety over that. But I walked through the steps that he had coached us through, and I was deathly freaking terrified. Like, I'm sure you guys could all see that in me. I was freaking out. And so I was kind of looking around to see who was holding the boards. And maybe I put a little more credit into that person than I should have. I should have relied more on myself. I knew I didn't want to do it with Mike, because you and Mike were working together, mostly because I felt like I needed to be apart from him to get that strength. Like, I didn't want to pull from him. And so I was kind of walking around and I saw Red was doing it. He was holding the board. And that's the first time I've actually met Red in person, but just his personality. Like, I know what a cheerleader he is, and just like, he just loves everybody. And so I seriously probably almost puked on myself. I was so scared. I'm serious. And it took me like 3 or 4 tries. I didn't have the paper. Like, I was just so scattered. I didn't have the piece of paper. And so I had a few breakdowns. It screwed me up. It really did. And I finally broke through it. But my throat was sore to the touch up until yesterday. And I got home, and just the last 2 days I've wanted to do nothing but sleep. And I think it was because mentally and emotionally and physically, I was just wiped. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I really can't explain it in any other way than that. Like, for anyone that wasn't there, like, we can't even try and give you the same experience just by telling you about it, because unless you're there and your butt is in that room and you're going through the motions and the exercises, like Joseph said, like, holy crap. I'm already terrified to go see him again in Vegas, because I know he's going to put my butt through the ringer, but it's something I needed. And Mike still, he's like, okay, did you do this? Did you do this? Like, daily. And I'm like, today I'm finally getting back into the motion of my business and messages and that kind of thing. And I should have done it yesterday, but I wouldn't have been good to anybody, because I couldn't even function myself. Like, I was bad. Like, yeah. I think I was asleep on the couch a few times yesterday because I was just so wiped. Mm-hmm. So anyways, just anybody that wasn't there, like Kelly was saying, I mean, Brian expects us as Circle of Champs to be at the events. But even if you can't make it to Keto Academy, which that was beyond me, like I was trying to take notes and I couldn't keep up, partly because we were just exhausted from our flight. And I can't remember who said what, but just, I think more the validation that they were able to give, not specific nuggets. I mean, I did get some. Yeah. I mean, I got a few really good things out of it, but there was a few of them I was just zoned out because it was just so above my head. I think Adam Nally was probably the one that really captured my attention. And I think it was because he really hit on thyroid and hormones and all of that stuff. And I'm on like my thyroid problem. I'm on testosterone replacement. Like I've got stuff that's got me screwed up. And I think that's part of my weight issue, but like he grabbed my attention. So now I'm rambling. I'll shut up. Just get there. Like there's nothing we can say to like replace the experience for anyone that wasn't there. It was amazing. I mean, especially as my first champ event, like we were getting messages, oh, champ huddle, oh, champ debrief, champ do this. I'm like, holy shit. Like I had no clue what I was getting into. I'm not going to lie there. Like it was go, 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 go. So anyways, I'm going to shut up.
I mean, the first night I like told people, I was like, okay, legitimately, like I'm telling you right now, the last night you will not get out of there before 2 a.m. And I don't think anyone believed me, but we literally did not get out of that room until I think it was like right before 2. It was nuts, but it's like, you don't want to leave the room. That's the crazy thing about it, is that you are physically and emotionally, you are exhausted, but like you're running on like ketone energy, but like you're running on prover energy. It's like this crazy, it's like you just want more and more and more because it's such awesome, good content that you just can't stop. It was like, even at 2, people were like, do you want to huddle up? Like, what are you going to do? And it was like, I couldn't sleep. I literally left and drove an hour and a half home because I'm like, I'm not going to go to sleep. You know, I'm like, I had to go back to my house before my husband went to work. So I just drove home and then drove back the next day. But it's funny. Have you guys had anybody ask you any questions since Keto Academy, like over text or over a message? Because I want to be like, well, if you were at Keto Academy, you would have learned all this, because I can't transcribe that to you because it's way too over my head. But it's funny, now every single time someone asks me a question or they post in one of y'all's group chats about, oh, my customer has so-and-so and so-and-so, and I'm just like, oh, if you would have been at Keto Academy, you would have heard that. You know what I mean? I wish they were like videoed or recorded. I know they can't be just because of, you know, respecting their professions and just being careful, but massive information, like crazy town information. Like the biggest takeaway from Keto Academy I got was that every person on the planet needs ketones, period. So like there's not a soul that we shouldn't be talking to about ketones. So that was really awesome. But who else wants to give their little, yeah, go ahead, Todd.
For me, Keto Academy was, it was pretty cool. Like a lot of it was way over my head too. You know, when they start talking about mitochondria and all this other stuff, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So, you know, but I think hearing the passion from the doctors and hearing how excited they were that we are all talking about ketones and ketosis, and, you know, they're all fired up about it. But as for me, more was like what I needed for myself and for my family, not even like anything else. That's what it was about for me. I crushed a big fear of mine of getting up and speaking in front of people, which was like absolutely huge. And
I was so stressed for him.
now I actually want to do it more.
Mm-hmm. You did
And
great.
then also like, you know, Joseph saying, celebrate the little things, celebrate some of the little things. And on our way home was a completely different drive from the way down there. I tend to be very hard on my oldest daughter, and I realized that. So I made that commitment to her and to Amanda that I wasn't going to be so hard on her. And I just explain to her, I talk to her in a normal voice and just say, look, Daddy's changing. He's made some positive things happen. So,
not that he was a jerk.
No. It's just really hard on her.
No, yeah.
I expected a lot out of her, and she's still, she's only 9.
Mhm.
So trying to break that mold and just be more communicate better with her versus just like losing my
shit.
Yeah, losing my shit, yelling. So it was funny because
Awesome.
we had left Orlando. We packed up the whole room, got it all loaded in the truck, got going down the road, and I looked over at Amanda, and I'm like, and she's like, what? I go, I didn't yell. I didn't yell one single time.
He had patience.
Yeah, I had a lot more patience, and the whole trip back, it was rough because we hit some storms and had to stay overnight, and I drove straight through 13.
We got in at 2:30.
Yeah, 13,
morning,
14 hours straight, and I didn't get angry once. So it was.
I was like,
yeah. So that was like a huge thing, and like I said, celebrate your small victories, which I think is a huge thing, because Amanda and I were high-fiving on the way back and that kind of stuff. So that was the big thing for me. And then I'm going to read my I am statement.
Yes.
I, Chad West, am inspiring, trustworthy, loving, fun father, husband, son, uncle, mentor, champion that shares with others, gets shit done, kicks ass, generates dreams, and I freaking rock, and I prove it every day.
Woo! Yeah. I love it. Oh God, it makes me tear up. It's so true. Like even Joseph said, like in Brian, I think this is like it could be applicable for like marriage, your children, like the entire time. And I'm gonna cry now. The entire time Natalie was doing her color thing, because with 5 girls, you can imagine that they're vastly different. And I have 2 that struggle with really bad anxiety and depression, and I'm a blue, and so I have a difficult time I don't know if it's relating or like understanding. So just learning how to talk, like little things that I could say or do that would change the way they hear things.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even about business, it was just about life in general. And the I am statements, holy cow, I said every one of them, I want every one of them to write one and say it every single day with me, because how amazing to empower my daughters every day to think positively about themselves, to love themselves, and to be,
confident.
Yeah, it's like it made me think, gosh, how we minimize the most important things that we could possibly do, and that's loving ourselves. If we don't love ourselves and we aren't cheering for ourselves, then who is? And I think sometimes from like our past shit, we always get told, like we're the last person that we are concerned with, when in all actuality, if we're feeding ourselves and we're growing or loving ourselves, then it comes out in all the positive ways. And when you self-hate and you talk all this negative stuff, it comes out negative to other people. So it's just so many things, like holy cow, it's just so super awesome. So I love that you read your Amanda, the picture, the golden goddess. Really, yeah. I was dying.
I was like, oh, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. I was already gonna do it. You gotta take the picture.
I love it. Oh my God, I was cracking up. I was like, yes, that's my girl.
And it's funny, walking down that hallway, like going towards the lobby, there was 2 sets of mirrors. And every time Amanda and I would walk by, we'd look over at the mirror. Be like.
That's so funny. I love it.
Did you shake your ass too?
I did a couple.
You look like a goober.
I don't care. I'm that. I'm that lone wolf then.
That's right. That's right.
Good thing you're taking, babe.
Yep.
I freaking love it.
A really great experience for me as well. Chad and I didn't sit together.
They told us not to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, we weren't supposed to sit by anybody that we knew. And I'm like, I know quite a few people. And we were sitting towards the front. And I wanted to be in front because I feel like I learn more when I'm in the front. I wanted to be involved, and I wanted to make eye contact with whoever was up on stage or whatever. And so it was funny because I sat down next to this chair that had a purse attached to it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll sit here just because I know that this is somebody's seat and I didn't want somebody to try and steal it from that person. So I ended up knowing the person that was sitting next to me, and but I didn't know her very well. So when we did our I am statements, that was really cool because we got to know a little bit more about each other, even though we knew who each other were or was, or I don't even know what the right word is. I'm getting really it was cool to be able to interact with her like that as well. And then when we did the color training, that was really cool because I had done that before. And I'm like a red and a yellow. And Natalie saw me with the red bandana and she was like, "You're a red?" I'm like, "You don't know me very well." Sassy, but it was really eye-opening for me because it was funny. I looked around and Chad was a blue and Kelly was a blue and Candy and I were reds. Marcy was a red and Amber was a red. And I'm like, "Kelly, do you see all these freaking reds around you?" And she goes, yeah. So it was a really fun, that was a really short
really fun
training, but it was pretty to the point, and I thought that was really good. I would like to do that more, like in depth. I know you can do like classes on that kind of stuff. So
I think it's really good for us to learn like who our close team is, like because I'm a blue and so I am horrible with greens. So like when I have prospects that are green that are like super analytical and they need to know data and science, like I don't, I don't connect well with greens. So now I know that like I would now put my greens in a conversation with Nick because Nick is a green. Nick is slightly blue too. Don't let him pull you.
It was funny because Kelly and I were on a call for like 45 minutes one night at like midnight with a potential. And she is a green. Like I have an upline chat. And so we were kind of talking about the situation in there because I wanted to get her on a Zoom. And so she had already talked to Kelly and I. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like she needs to talk to like Natalie and Jared and Casey. And so luckily Casey and Jared said that they could jump on there. And so we did a Zoom with her earlier today. And Casey was on first and she connected really well with Casey because Casey's like super nice and really quiet. And then Jared got on there and he's really quiet, but he's a talker, if that makes sense. So
he's laid back.
I had given him kind of her background. So this person is with another company. He's familiar with that company. He ended up telling us that he had joined that company like 3 times. So he really understood what that company was all about. And so he and I were kind of texting while we were doing the Zoom. And he's like, "Is this good? Are we okay? What do you think?" And so it ended up going really, really well. And it was funny because she was like, when she talked to Kelly and I, she needed all of the details. So we gave her all of the details. But then when Jared got on the phone, he was like super general, and she was like, "Okay,
let's do this.
I'm gonna jump on." And I was like,
that's what I said. I was like, "What more does she possibly need to know?"
And Kelly and I talked to her at midnight for like 45 minutes, and then Jared talks to her for like 30, and she's like, "Okay." So it was just a really good. It was very eye-opening that less is more, even though they say they want more, you don't need to give them more. everything's really general. And so I took a bunch of notes on our conversation today, and I'm gonna share those with you guys because he had some really good wording in there, and he was just very general and just
Awesome.
Jared's an awesome guy. If you guys haven't connected with him yet, find him. You don't need us to, help you find him. Just search for Jared Maidenberg on Facebook. He's a super great guy. I think you probably will have connected with him. But
So what else did you take away from that? Because we haven't really even.
we haven't had time to talk. Even though we were in the car all day yesterday.
Yeah.
Book right here. You were at Moore. You got this book, and it will totally change your life. It is amazing. It talks about different types of personalities. So you've got like P1, P2, P3. So P1 is an enthusiastic prover, which is like low skill, high engagement. They're super excited, but they don't know what they're talking about yet. P2, who's an emerging prover. It's kind of what it says here. So P2 is an emerging prover, so moderate to high skill level, variable engagement. P3 is experienced prover, high skill, high engagement. And then you've got the disillusioned prover, who is low skill, low engagement, which I don't necessarily agree with the low skill, but I actually, in my upline chat earlier, was that yesterday that I put in there? I was like, that disillusioned prover part really was a smack in the face to me, because I'm a realist, and with all of the shipping issues that we've had and the order delays and stuff, that frustrated me because I had a bazillion people coming to me and there was nothing that I could do about it. So I kind of went into that disillusioned prover mindset where it was just all negative piling on me and I couldn't do anything about it. And so I would go up with that. And even though there was nothing that they could do about it, and really there was nothing that Heather could do about it either, it was just it seemed like I was just bitching about everything.
Spinning.
So that was kind of a smack in the face to me that crap is going to happen, and we just need to relate to our teams that when we're growing like we are, stuff is going to happen. And I think for the most part, I tell people that. I mean, when we have a sale and I'm working directly with somebody, I'll let them know, hey, your shipping time is going to be longer because you're getting a really good deal, and so are a lot of other people. And I'll tell the team that too. I don't know if everybody reads in the team page or not anymore, but I try and communicate that the best that I can. So I think
that's good. That's all you can do.
Trying to reiterate that we're literally a brand new company and we're going to have issues, but they're good issues. We just have to look past that. So that I thought was really good.
Hey, ketones are in high demand.
That's right.
And they just reiterated that, yes, we do have competition, but it's really not competition because they don't have the quality that we have. They don't have the research that we have. They don't have Dr. Dom and Dr. Ford, who are super excited about what we as provers have to offer.
Oh my gosh. If you guys knew where we're going, what the future entails, holy smokes. We only got a taste of it. They shared some stuff with us that we can't share, but I mean, we don't even know the whole thing, but it's gonna I don't even know. I'm freaking mind blown. I'm just holy smokes, I'm so glad I come join this company. I'm just yes. I'm with all a certain surety that you are in the right place at the right time with the right company. That's all I can say. All right, I know it's so late. Let's just get Christy, when you want to give your takeaways at all? You want to share?
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't even know where to start actually, because it was so overwhelming, but in a good way. I kept thinking about how at Epic I was a rank 3, and then I double ranked in February, and then obviously hit 6 in March. But I think the biggest thing, overall. And I already sort of shared in our champion chat. Like I had a moment at work today. Like I changed my monitor screensavers to beaches in Costa Rica, and I'm already starting to get the shaky voice. I just really it's really like hard to, I guess, grasp and wrap my mind around that this is reality. And then like just understanding and realizing that it's so much more and so bigger, or so much bigger than, I guess, what you think. And so I think really felt like, okay, I definitely am so glad that I took a leap, like not knowing anything. And just to dream bigger. Like I need to set that bar a lot higher than what I had anticipated. And then sitting at my desk having like a quiet little cry in my cubicle, like wishing that I could really share with people that I work with, but in the corporate environment, it's so stifled. And like, even if I would share with them, I don't think that they would get it. And there's so much like ugliness in the corporate world. Like it's all, cutthroat and who can, throw whoever under the bus. It's just such a different environment that like, I don't really feel like, even though I'm really, really great at my job and I'm very thankful that I have it right now in terms of the benefits and all of that, like my heart doesn't like overflow with joy and happiness and being able to like love on people like this business does. And so like when you think of like long-term leaving a legacy and a lasting imprint on the world, like my job in workers' compensation at Travelers is not going to do that. So, it's just dreaming bigger, much bigger.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps. It's so awesome, though. I mean, gosh, it's like, what a gift, like and it's okay that you have a great job. Like, it's okay that, that's the beautiful thing about this is that you can do this alongside of that for now. And maybe in the future you won't have to. But what a huge blessing. Like, what joy that and let me tell you, even if you're not sharing it with them, your presence alone on ketones is joy enough. Like, you're giving them that splash of joy. So they probably already know you're up to something. They just don't know what.
I did have to tell you something. There's a lady in another, like we have, our region has offices in Las Vegas and New Mexico and in Arizona. And there's this lady who has a reputation, and I've been in that department, I guess, 3 years now. And all of my interactions with her have always been like, she's sort of ugly and obviously not happy with her job or what's going on. And I was lovingly voluntold that I needed to help train her on something, and her attitude was just real piss poor. But I always was just, being nice to her, and I always try to assume positive intent and really love on people regardless of how they're communicating with me. And so I was just pushing through it because she had an attitude. We were doing virtual training, and I said, do we need to take a minute? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to be okay. But she ended up putting in her notice because she's been unhappy for a while. And she sent me a message just to tell me, like, you're the first person since I've been here for almost 5 years that's actually, really taken interest and asked me sincerely if I was okay. And she's like, I just wanted you to know that I really appreciated that. And I'd love to stay connected with you, even though we didn't really know each other, on my new job and new endeavors. So is it okay if I share my phone number with you? Wow. And like, I just felt like, yeah, I definitely think that having sort of the euphoria that I feel sometimes with ketones helps me like reel it in and like realize that, people are innately good and really want to be good. It's just seeing the good in people.
So true. That's awesome. I loved having you there. I love like seeing, and some of you can say that, seeing your leaders there is like, that was one of the biggest gifts for me, just watching you guys enjoy it and grow and have these breakthroughs and be able to really have the experience that you guys had was super awesome through my eyes. So Mike, are you there still?
He's muted. Can you unmute him, Kelly? He's on his phone.
Yes, got it. You there, Mike?
Okay, can you guys?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
We gotcha.
I'll make it quick, guys. I know everybody's getting late and stuff, and we've all been on here. So first, I'll just start by I am Mike. I'm passionate, inspiring, humble, trusting leader, badass mentor that listens, supports, and teaches myself and others. I freaking rock, and I prove it every day.
Woo!
Just wanted to leave that. Probably said it a lot more than my 10 times a day today. I sat in my truck and I read it. I read it out in this while I was walking through this big open building we're renovating today, and only 2 of the 13 guys speak English. They're all Spanish speaking, so they probably really think I love it. Yeah, and I always told them, hey, if I could talk Spanish, I'd tell you ketones in Spanish. So is it ketones? And then I'm showing them acting, you know what I mean? But anyway, what I took from it was huge for me personally. I mean, just the overwhelm. I had a lot of belief in the product, and I had a lot of belief in the business and the business model where we were heading from Epic. But just the reinforcement that I got of the business direction was huge for me. But what really got me, and I think the biggest takeaway I had was, and it's hard to admit to yourself because, I mean, we've done good, and I think I back Aaron up a lot with me working full time, and I try to be involved and help with our team, and I'm really engaged with everybody, and I help with group messages all the time, and I'm there for us as a team leader. I thought as a leader, but I was more of a helping hand. But when you look at yourself and I really evaluated, what are you putting into this, and what do you have to offer? And when we were doing our self-evaluations and stuff through more, I was like, I'm at 20% at the best of what I can give to this opportunity and to our family and to our team. And everybody else was thinking I was giving, I mean, they were thinking I was giving a lot and they were happy with it. But myself, I was cutting myself short. I was cutting the whole community short. I was cutting our leader short. I was cutting our team short, and overall myself and my family. So I'll try not to get emotional here, but it's hard for me since we came back. It's been hard for me to even work during the day of my full-time job because I just have a knowledge in as you were saying, the transferable skills. Mm-hmm. My transferable skills, not from just a past whatever marketing and stuff, just my leadership skills, my follow-through skills, the skills for people to want to follow me, and my personal skills with people in general, and to be able to learn and share and teach those, and to be a mentor for others. I've always had huge skills in that area, and for me to cut myself and my family short was really hard for me to admit that and come to that realization, knowing that if I was 100%, 1000% all in, there's no reason I would have to be away from my family every single day. And I'm already claiming it that other situations happen, but this is going to be the month that we're going to push through the rest of the way and just keep growing and growing. And I'm going to be home at the end of this month. I'm not going to go back to work. So, and we're pushing ourselves, and I know we can do it. And I know it's scary, especially for Aaron, and super emotional. I mean, Chad and Amanda know how that is, but there is no reason, with the opportunity in front of us and the momentum and the blessing that we have with everybody on this phone, the leaders that we have looking and pushing in the innovation for the blue waters. Why would I have to be in any other job in red waters in any situation ever, when all I have to do is step into my power, accept the responsibility, and learn from the people above me, and just be there for people emotionally and share this opportunity. So for me, that was huge breakthrough.
I love it. Awesome. Then it's freaking awesome. Mike, I see so much in you, and I'm so excited that I feel like watching you this week, like you truly are ready to step into your greatness. Like you have massive skills. Like I don't even know all of your past experience, but it's just what I see in you. You're a personable guy, but it's more than that. Like, I just see so much in you, and I just feel like you and Aaron are just about to take off and do crazy stuff. So I'm so pumped up and excited that you see that and that you felt that, because I see that in you already. So, and I know that Michael saw that this week. I know Natalie saw that this week. I know Brian saw that this week. So people see you, and I want you to know that.
That's
So
awesome. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
I'm just going to lean on you guys and just keep, I feel very strong, and you always feel confident, but to have your leaders to lean on and to have that third party validation for yourself and have those people knowing that you have that team with you and that you're doing it for everybody in the community, all the way from Brian down to that new person that's not even knowing about ketones yet today, that we're going to be talking to tomorrow, and that our teams are going to be talking to, and the blessings that we're going to bring to all of them. It's just, if we don't share those skills and keep passing them on and step up, who's going to?
That's right. Exciting
So
stuff.
thanks for letting me share, guys.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to, I think, what, Twyla and Marcy, anybody else was that? I think this was
Yeah,
last two.
I'll share. I know for me, like, I mean, so much. Aaron, I slept all day yesterday. I could not hold my head up. I was thinking maybe it was the sinus meds, but I took sinus meds the whole time. Everybody knew I was sick the whole time I was at convention. And I don't know if I just pushed through it that I never, no, I mean, I got my eyes glazed over a few times, in the conference, but I think I just pushed through the tiredness of the sinus medication or whatever. But yesterday I had so much planned. I was on fire and ready to do, and I could not hold my eyes open. So I just rested yesterday too. But today I got back on track. I know number one, which I've already kind of learned this, but it really resonated with me this weekend, of I talk too much. So I need to keep it simple. And I did that great on the way home, in the airport, on the plane with people. Didn't really talk because, if you say something right when you get on the plane, then you might just keep talking the whole 2 hours and you won't shut up. I said something to the guy, like, I created a rapport with them, but I did not bring up anything about this until we were ready to leave. And then I asked, then I asked, and then I handed something off, and then I have the guy that sat next to me, I have his phone number. That was the first time I've ever done that. I always just hand him my business card and rely on them to contact me, but I actually got his phone number and text him the video. So that was a big thing for me. I'm just always too nervous to ask him for that, to be that bold. So I did that better. A lady in the bathroom, the same thing. I just her kid was being really loud and crying, and I just started talking to her kid, and, creating that rapport. And then at the end, right before they're fixing to walk away, then I asked them, okay, would you mind, and just kind of did it a little different, instead of just talking the whole time. So I hope, I'm going to get better at it. It's a skill that I've got to work at. The other thing is, I have been to a lot of conferences. I joined my first network marketing company at age of 19. And, I have been to a lot over the years. I have done a lot of stuff. And, this by far was the best one I think I've ever been to. The other thing is, it seems like, I know over the last 4 years or so, the devil likes to kind of wiggle into something that's going good. And the thing of it that Joseph taught us about how to change our emotions, and the fist and the yes, whenever you're starting to feel that negative emotion that you don't want, and to say yes and to have that better emotion. The devil started working on me at the conference, and I don't know if I told you, Kelly, or not, but like the second we got finished with that exercise and we went to lunch, we went on our lunch break, I got a text message, and I wasn't even out of the conference room to go to lunch. And I got a text message, and there was a bad storm here at my house. Lightning had struck one of our chicken houses, and we had no power. And with live animals closed up in a house, they can die in 20 minutes and we lose everything. And, that's always a fear. And, my husband texted me, he was like, we have no power. The generator's down, everything's out. Like, we have nothing. And I was literally walking out the door and I did, yes. Yeah, I didn't want to look like an idiot to everybody else, but I did. I did it like real quick as I was going out the door, and I did it again. And I just got an incredible peace that no matter what happened, I wasn't there and I couldn't do anything about it. And that was the devil trying to take me away from something good and take my mental focus away from learning and growing. And I knew that. And, there's been so many conferences that I've gone to and I've left and on the plane been on fire, ready to come home and change the world. And I get home to drama and it completely takes me off course. And it's like I wasted my time and my money at that conference. Every single time it happens, every single time. And I vowed right then and there, whenever that happened, that was not going to happen this time, that I was going to take control of my emotions, that I knew whenever I got home, stuff was going to happen again. Things are going to happen. Somebody's going to say something wrong, the stealer of your dreams, well, you can't do that. My parents are the worst. I know everybody has parents that, but I love my parents, but they are the worst. Like buying a vehicle. Oh, well, that's not going to last. You better not make that note, just things like that. And it's like, you've got to get that out of your mind and stop letting it control my emotions. And that, yes, and changing that, of not letting it because I beat myself up. I'm the one doing it on the inside. When they do that, they only say it once, but I say it over and over again to me, which is that I am statement, and I need to do better on saying it repeated. I haven't done well, and I'm going to be honest. But I did write it up today, and I'm going to do better. But to me, just that control of my emotions, I can't control anything else but me. And so changing that negative emotion, and whenever somebody says something or something happens to try to take me out of focus, yes, and changing that back to a positive, that's probably one of the biggest things, because I was just at such a peace, and it was incredible that I was at such a peace. And then about 30 minutes after, that happened, and I wasn't worried about it, my husband texted me. He said, okay, the power's back on. Everything is good. And he said, we didn't lose any birds, everything's good. And I was like, thank you, Lord, but I didn't stress and I didn't lose focus of what I was doing in Orlando at the time. And I think it was a big thing for me.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that you're using that technique. I mean, here's the thing. Just like Joseph and Clinton said, if you don't do them, they won't work. So we have to do them, right? We have to implement them to actually be successful. But prime example, Jeff Skinner had just hit MVP 6 months ago. And he created his I am statement at Moore in Louisville. And he said he had no success. He hadn't had product success. They had just hit MVP. That was it. And they had got stuck. 6 months later, he's a champ 8 because he recited, not just because, but he said, I repeated that I am statement 25 times a day for 6 months. And it changed his family. His son spoke, his wife. I mean, it just so many aspects of his family changed because he changed. So it's powerful. These tools and these action steps aren't just silly. I mean, we laugh and they're fun, but really utilize them because I've seen them work. I've watched several people in the community. I made an I am statement 6 months ago, and I fully believe that's a huge part of why I am here. I utilized a lot of the things I learned from Joseph that day in Louisville. So I just feel like if we really take hold of these things, that by Vegas, we're going to be just miles from where we are today. So I'm really excited about that. Twyla, you want to wrap us up with your little takeaway?
I will. And I'll make it fast. I know y'all are probably thinking, man, it is after 10 o'clock. that was my first time ever going to an event like that. It was amazing. I'm pumped up still from the day that I walked out of there. You know, and there's only been one other time where I talked to a stranger about keto, but you know, when I got off the plane, I was at the airport and I reached and it was time for me to get on the parking ride or whatnot so they can take me to my car and I can drive home. You know, I was sitting there and I'm like, oh, the driver. You know, you get that gut feeling. I need to say something to him. And I did. And we had a good conversation. Fire video. He replied back because he looked at it. He was interested and he wanted a 5-day experience. I immediately, I got 2 customers to get online to purchase. And I called somebody who was thinking about being a promoter, talked to her, and she joined with an experience pack. I just said,
that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, one of the things that resonated with me was when Brian said he knew a lot of people in Prove It that were, they were champs, but they were achievers and not necessarily leaders. And the first time he said that, oh, it kind of stung. And the reason it stung is because I'm like, you know what? I never thought of it that way. But yeah, I'm a champ 6, but am I really leading? You know, because I December the 29th and I hit rank 5 in January and I got pumped and I hit champ 6 in February and then also in March. But then I'm thinking, man, I haven't hosted a Zoom, you know, and I'm not really posting a whole lot on the pages to inspire others or teach others. So I need to get on the ball. So when Candy said, hey, you know, who you know, who wants to do the next Zoom? And I'm like, okay, me. You know, I've never done it before, and it might not be all that great the first time, but I'm ready to get in that leader position, and I want to make a change, and I want to help others to be able to achieve success because I'm seeing the wonderful things with this company, and I'm an elementary school principal, you know, so, and I love working with kids, but I find myself, especially since I've been back from more, you know, I'm at school and in my office, and I'm like, man, I want to get on my phone. I want to check Facebook. I want to see has commented because I want to, you know, see if I can get some more experience packs sold and get people to join the business because it truly is exciting, you know, so I'm just really pumped up and I'm so glad that I went to more because I almost didn't go. And the reason being when I saw the dates, I saw Keto Academy. And for those of you that know education with STAR testing, that's like a big thing. And so we had last week. And of course, our superintendent, your principal, you're on your campus. You're not gone. So, man, I can't go. And then I looked and I'm like, wait a minute, more's on the weekend. I'm like, oh, I can still go and make it to more. So I signed up really quickly and I'm so glad I went. While I was there, I was posting videos, I was talking to people on my team and other people on my team have gotten fired up. One of them, oh my gosh, she sent me like so many 3-way chats, me and Shanna just today. So many 5 and 10 experience day packs. So she is on the ball as well as some others. So again, I'm just ready for this journey and I'm ready to rock and roll.
That's so awesome. I love it. That's what it's all about right there. I mean, how cool is that? It doesn't get much better than that. I forgot Michelle's on here too, right? She called it. Michelle, are you still there? I might have to meet her or I meet her. Michelle, are you still there? She might not be there. Oh. That's okay. I don't know I know she's on her phone. Sometimes I mute and unmute her. I just wanted to make sure everybody that was there got a chance to share. Did everybody? I think so.
Shanna was there.
Oh, she is. Yeah. Hey.
Hey guys, sorry my fan might be blowing. It's a little loud in my bedroom.
Oh, that's okay.
I wasn't at more, but I do have my tickets for Vegas. I'm excited that, you know, just to get I'm really sad I missed it. But I was excited for my team members that did go. I had to come back early. I'm really bummed I missed. I mean, I'm like really sad about it. Just hearing all of y'all's motivation, I feel like, you know, I wish that I would have been there for more versus Keto Academy because I could only do one, not both. But I mean,
you're booked for the next one.
That's
exciting.
I'm coming. Yeah, and I'm super excited, Twyla. You know, you've really got me fired up again, and I love seeing the automatic just switch in you, just in your team. And you were so right. Today was crazy. I mean, I looked at my phone, oh my gosh, what's going on? But it's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see all the momentum picking back up for everybody. So
yes, definitely, for sure. Well, you guys are freaking rock stars. I absolutely just so adore each of you. I was so glad to have you guys there. If you weren't there, that's okay. We love you, and we can't wait for you to go to the next one. It's just going to make you better. I promise you. It's going to make you better. It's going to make your team better. And I'm just flipping excited. Like, I just can't even put into words like how excited I am for the future. It's a good feeling to be in this place, right? It's a good feeling to have every aspect of your life just being blessed and being happy and exciting, and seeing that vision for the future and feeling super confident. Like, there's no question in my mind that the future is super solid. And so that's really exciting. And to think that all of the new things coming in the pipeline and just the vision that Brian and Nancy have to take Prove It to is just, holy cow. Like, the sky's the limit. So I'm super pumped for the N8 challenge. I did sign up for that. I got my tickets for keto and more, thank God, because they were cheap. I was like, yes. So it's good to save 50%. So excited. Hopefully you guys all got your tickets, and your team is going to be there. But we have plenty of time to promote that. More information is going to be coming in the pipeline. Tomorrow they should have details on the N8 challenge. Nancy was supposed to have everything worked out, but she was super stressed because they were at Disney. And so hopefully tomorrow, if not, give her till Friday or Monday. But hopefully the N8 challenge will be launched tomorrow. And remember, it's beta tested. So like, this is like a soft launch. So it's going to be a small group, and there will be tweaks. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be exciting, super awesome. I mean, hello, Drew Manning. Hey. I'm excited. So I hope that you guys enjoy that if you joined. And tomorrow, training, 9 o'clock Eastern. So make sure your teams are on that. I won't scare them too much, I promise. But make sure you guys, like I said, message me tonight, message me whatever tomorrow if you want to think about it. Just make sure you reach out to me where you are, what your commitment level is, and what your goals are as far as being a circle champion. Okay, agreed? All right, thanks for hanging in there with me, guys. It's been a long night. You guys are awesome.